For, let's see, if you subtract, 3.5 minutes at the beginning of the game and about, inside the last 3 minutes, you take out about a minute and a half. So that's 5 minutes total? 3.5, 1.5 is 5. Ole Miss played, I would say, 35 minutes of the best basketball that I have ever seen an Ole Miss basketball team play since I started watching them in 1989.
You have a longer streak than me, but yeah, it was perfect. They played 35 minutes of perfect basketball last night, and it started defensively. They're right. Look, they scored 91 points. They shot like crazy, but it started on the defensive end of the floor. That is a Iowa State team that shoots 36% from three. They're number 18 in the country in offensive rating. That they are. I mean, that's an elite offensive basketball team.
And an elite defensive basketball team that gave up 91.
Yeah. But I think it started defensively. Ole Miss made everything for Iowa State uncomfortable. And they were able to switch basically 1 through 5. There were a couple of times where Iowa State would get the ball in the block to one of their bigs. And you had Matt Morrell a lot. But it also, when Barnes played, he was in the situation where a 6'11" guy was trying to back down this 6'4" guard from Ole Miss. And they would give no ground at all. So they matched physicality and exceeded it. They disrupted passing lanes, forced turnovers, which led to easy offense and confident, either easy looks at the basket or stepping into an open three. Everything was good for Ole Miss other than, you mentioned the start, but also that 2-minute period where Chris Beard had to call a timeout up double digits late in the second half to scream at his team. Other than that.
Let's finish this thing, and then they put together a really good play coming out of the timeout, and it's like, okay, everybody take a deep breath.
But they did everything. They defended well physically. After a weird start, they rebounded well. They forced turnovers. They took smart shots. They moved the basketball. They moved without the basketball. They didn't really turn it over. They did everything right and were dominant over Iowa State last night. I did not know. I mean, you knew that this was a good team, right? You don't get to the round of 32 if you're not good. You don't beat Alabama and Tennessee and Kentucky if you're not good. They spent a long time last night looking elite.
They looked like a contender for the Final Four. Now, will they get there? Who knows? No idea. You got to go win 2 more games to even get to the Final Four. And, talking about a national championship, you got to win 2 more games after that. Can Ole Miss play at the level that they played for the first 2 games of the tournament for 4 more games? I have no idea. But I do know people are going to be watching. You had 5 players in double figures. It was incredibly balanced last night for Ole Miss. Sean Padula continues to play at an elite level. His stat line, 37 minutes, 20 points with 3 threes, 8 assists, 2 rebounds, only 1 turnover, and 4 steals.
Yeah, the most underrated aspect of his game is his defense. I mean, he's a point scorer, he's a shooter, and that's what gets people talking about him. Defensively, though, if you look at the best guard for every team that Ole Miss has played this year, they've had bad games, and that's Padula and also Matt Morrell, but he's an exceptional defender. In March, so since the calendar turned to March, he has the go-ahead 3 with 19 seconds to go. That was the game winner, ultimately, against Oklahoma. He hit the buzzer-beating game-winning 3 against Arkansas. Had 20 points on 7 of 14 shooting in the NCAA tournament against North Carolina, and then you said it, 20 points again last night, with 8 assists and 4 steals. That's just
and
this
only
March.
1 turnover, which I think is significant because that's one issue that he's had at times throughout the course of the season, being a little too loose with the basketball. 19 points for Jamin Brakefield, 18 points and 8 rebounds for Malik Dia, 15 points for Matthew Morrell. Was so happy for him last night. 5 of 7. He hit 3 threes. All 3 of them were big when he hit them. He also had 4 rebounds in the game. Juju Murray had 11. So 5 players in double figures. Dre Davis, I mean, you saw what he can do in the first half of the North Carolina game. He's got to figure out a way to stop making stupid fouls. Like he fouls too much, and about half of his fouls are not necessary. They're not, you're hacking a guy who's driving to the basket to try and keep him from making a layup and make him go earn the 2 points at the free throw line. It's reach-ins and bumps on a rebounding deal. Man, you'd love to keep him on the floor. David Barnes had 4 points. Eduardo Klafke played. He had a rebound. He did not score. 8 guys total. That's it. That's what played. Ole Miss is headed to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2001 and the second time ever.
It's incredible. How do you contextualize that as somebody? I mean, you said it since what was it? 1989 was the year that you gave.
Yeah. We moved to Oxford in November of 88, kind of started following it in 89, really started going to games in 90. So we're in 2024 now, so 34 years of going to Ole Miss basketball games.
And getting into this situation twice. But somebody brought it up to me last night. 2 years ago, think about what Ole Miss basketball was 2 years ago after they lost to North Alabama.
I have no recollection of that.
They lose to North Alabama in
front of... Hey, Dad, there's some things you just flush from the mind.
Brother, I'm with you.
In front of 75 people. And if I'd have told you walking out of that arena that night, if you happen to be one of the few people in there, 2 years from now, you're going to be in the Sweet 16, you would have slapped me on the back of the head.
Yeah.
Like, there is absolutely no way that the program, this same program, can be turned around so quickly by whoever is going to replace Kermit Davis, because that was the night he got fired, to make a Sweet 16 in year 2. There's no way that you would have believed that, and yet here they are.
And the Sweet 16 matchup is on Friday night, tip-off at 6:09 Central Time against Michigan State. It's at Phillips Arena in Atlanta.